let's talk about it. So we know that Tyler Perry went on social media. I think he was on IG, bragging, being his narcissistic self, talking about hustle and grind. And 2019, he shows a bunch of his shows that I have no desire to watch any of them, and I've already heard criticisms of two of the new ones already. It's like bootleg scandal and the swirling nonsense. But he talked about how he doesn't have any writers, right? And the problem I have with that is that, more black folks who consume to be anti-capitalism and whatnot, like, again, I don't have an issue with him making business decisions. Him not having a writer room, like, that's a business decision. Personally, I think that's stupid for him because his content clearly suffers because he's trying to do too many things at one time, and his content is ass. Like, it's not debate. Despite his content being ass, he got the studio thing going on in Atlanta, and it's bigger than all the other ones. But at the end of the day, he's still limited in what he can do, because he can't distribute. He still has to go to studio heads to get stuff done and approval. He just has a place where you can come shoot movies, which is cool and fine. But again, that's that conversation about being global instead of having a niche market and having a small demographic of people, i.e. black women and possible homosexual black men. But yes, Tyler Perry talked about what he did, but he can't remove the context of the fact that those are black jobs that aren't there. Like, we got to be honest about, like, in Hollywood, in writing rooms, why a lot of these sitcoms do suck is because they have a bunch of white people writing for them. And I've given my criticisms and critique of the TV show Family Reunion on Netflix, which just got renewed for a second season. I have my beef with it, right? Like, the whole making a little biracial girl who can pass for white, black, and then reinforcing it is stupid. We shouldn't be doing that. It's dumb. If you want to replace a bunch of black folks with actor rooms, like Sasha Barris or whatever his name is, Kenya Barris is doing on ABC with his fourth show, do that. But don't try to emphatically make them black while you're replacing black people. Like, don't do that. I have an issue with that. But at the same time, I do question, like, what do we really want? Because that TV show has a room full of black writers. Like, and that's rare in sitcom television. And you can see right there when you look at that staff or that writer's room that Tyler Perry's bragging he don't have, you see what that does for black content creators, right? So, I don't know. I'm just thinking that Tyler should get a little bit more criticism from what he's for that whole situation. I can't see how what he said as some braggadocious, I'm hustling, I'm grinding, I'm working while everybody else is sleeping, blah, blah, blah. That's not what that looks to me. It looks like you're selfish and you're arrogant and you're cheap. And then as soon as your writers try to unionize back in the way, you fired them, which that's a thing that people do. Again, that's a business decision, right? I live in New York, a right-to-work state. Yeah, there's a lot of unions here, but at the same time, a lot of companies come here because it's a right-to-work state. A lot of these companies like Panasonic, Tesla, they will fire you if they find out you're trying to unionize. That's illegal, but you got to prove it. And it's probably worth more to them to go to court and settle with you than it would be for them to allow unionization in their company. So that's a thing, though, right? Again, it's supposed to be illegal, but I'm not pro-union or anti-union, so that's just that. If you want one, you should be able to be in one. If you don't want to be part of one, you shouldn't have to be. That's just my take on it. Obviously, the real world doesn't work like that, but I'm saying that happened. The reason why he doesn't have a writing room too is because he fired some of his writers like almost 10 years ago. He had a writing room before, and again, when you're trying to wear too many hats and do too many things, you stressed out, and you can see it in your work and it suffers. I think his work is ass, period. But I'm saying we really can tell the man is doing too much. So instead of bragging about not having any help and not having any writers, hire some help because your content is trash, dog. Like, it's just not that deep. But anyways, that's just my video. I didn't want to go too long on this topic. Yeah, Tyler Perry, we see your hustle, your grind, and yada, but you can't flip it into that. We know what it is. You don't want to deal with people who want better working conditions and whatnot and certain benefits you don't want to pay, and that's fine and dandy. This is a capitalist system. Stuff like that happens, but let's call it what it is, right? You're being cheap, you're arrogant, you're cocky, and your work is your content is trash, and you need help, right? Hire some writers, dog. Forget all that. Like, it ain't worth all that. Black women eventually might get tired of your work being mediocre and trash, and they might want something better. That's just my video. I'm out. Only because this video's done and I don't want to keep starting over. Because, it's only 5 minutes for me to record this gameplay clip where I went ham. The M13 is actually crazy in this game. Like, it's OP. I don't even